Hi Year 11, we're going to go through a AQA English Language Paper 2 question paper on the theme of hunting. Again, this is the writer's viewpoints and perspectives, so you're looking at two different texts, one much older and one a modern day text, and looking at how they view hunting. Before we even start on this though, I would like you to go onto your Google Classroom and find the Kahoot link that I've put on there, because I just want you to practice a little bit of poetry revision. So you can go onto the Kahoot first before you start today's lesson, and you can start with that first. So you can pause the video here to complete your Kahoot. Okay, well done with completing the Kahoot quiz. Hopefully you found that pretty straightforward. So timings in terms of reading section A, you can see here that it says the first 15 minutes should be spent reading and planning. So you can look through the key questions that you've got to answer and read the two texts. Question 1, you shouldn't spend much time on this. This is the retrieval questions, very similar to paper 1's question 1. So you're identifying and interpreting, and it's only 4 marks, okay? So just 5 minutes there. Question 2, we've done quite a bit of practice on question 2 this week, or this past week, sorry. And that is where you are looking at two key texts, and you are summarising and synthesising the information based on one particular aspect. Okay, so the similarities or the differences between the texts, depending on what it's asking you. And then question 3 we're going to look at today, and you're going to be looking at the writer's use of language. So this is going to be much more focused on AO2. Okay, so selecting and selecting key quotes, explaining the effects of those, commenting and analysing what the implied meanings are and the effects of the use of language. And then spending 5 minutes reading and planning, preparing for question 4, which you should spend 15 minutes on. And this is a comparison question worth 16 marks, so a little bit longer on this, 15 minutes. And you're comparing the writer's attitudes, okay, so picking out how they feel about the topic. So I would note these timings down into your books so you know how long you should be spending on each section. Okay, so this is source A, and it's an excerpt from Wildlife Under the Equator by Paul du I think it's Chaillu. In this extract, which was published in 1861, the author describes hunting an African gorilla. Okay, so have a read through this text. I've popped it onto Google Classroom as well. Okay, so now you can complete question 1. It asks you to read source A, so hopefully you've done that now. And you're going to shade in the 4 statements below which are true, so you can write these down in your books, the 4 which are correct. Okay, so that's 4 marks. A couple of tips here. So to reread the text to find the answers, double check them using the text, have it next to you obviously, and look out for the statement that is nearly true. Okay, so they will try to throw you on this and have some which could be quite plausible but not exactly true. Okay, so pause the video here just so you can get those down, and then we'll go through the answers shortly. Okay, so here are your correct answers. So the author enjoyed dreams of animal slaughter. The author, the hunt began in the morning, sorry. The writer enjoyed eating tonda fruit, and the natives cut their hands to steady themselves. Okay, so now spend some time reading through source B. This is taken from the Guardian newspaper, where Anne Widdecombe, who's an MP, who at the time of writing was the Home Secretary in the Conservative government, She expresses her views on the subject of hunting and whether or not it should be banned in Britain. So you've got this on Google Classroom, so have a little read through. Okay, so question 2 asks you to look at source A and source B. You're going to write a summary of the differences in the kinds of hunting described. Okay, so it's asking you to write 2 paragraphs for 8 marks using the SQI connective SQI structure that we've looked at before. So, quick summary of what that looks like. You've got the statement, so write a sentence making a statement about source A's writer's opinion, then you use a quote to prove it, and then briefly explain what the readers can infer or understand about the writer's attitude to the topic based on this quotation. Then you're going to use that connective and say however, and then create that statement about source B using a quote and then inferring again. So you can use this structure to help you. So you start with, in source A, the author, he states blah 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 blah. From this we can infer that. However, because we're doing the differences, the author in source B, she explains, which implies that. Okay. Okay, so going to look at question 3 now. So this says, now refer to source A. So we're just looking at source A. How does the writer use language to describe the gorilla he encounters? So this is essentially writing a piece paragraph. So point, evidence, explain, zoom. You might also want to think of it as what, how, why. So what is used to describe how he encounters the gorilla. How does the writer use language to describe the encounter, so like what technique is used, and then why, what effect does this have, why does he use this language. So you need to identify the language choices here. So you're looking at this extract. So this is a really nice section to have a look at. So just look at this section and see if you can pick out any language choices that show how the encounter is. What does this show about his encounter? Okay, so looking at this section here just to get some ideas. So pause the video here, you can annotate on your sheet or write down some notes on your Google Doc. Okay, so you might have picked out some language to describe the physical appearance of the gorilla. So for example, it uses emotive adjectives like something horrid to behold, sunken eyes like the eyes of a demon. You might synthesize with like evil grey eyes. The repetition of the words powerful, horrid, awful. His teeth were frightful to look upon as well. So you get this really terrifying image of the gorilla. So you need to identify a point that the writer is making. So explain it using your own words. Try to sum it up in one sentence. Then you're going to identify the method the writer has used. So it could be simile, repetition, etc. And then provide a relevant quotation to prove it. And then you're going to zoom in on a key word in your quotation, explain the meaning behind the word and also why you think the writer has chosen it, and explain what ideas the author is trying to convey by using this word. Okay, so I want you to have a go at doing one really detailed paragraph answering this key question, okay? And we'll have a look over these next lesson and then continue with looking at question 4. Okay, so that's everything today. Like I say, if you have any issues, please do send me a message on Google Classroom and I will be there to help. Okay, thanks guys.